Why are one-liners so hard? Hey everyone, I'm Matthew Cornwell with Get Taped here in Atlanta, Georgia, one of Atlanta's original audition taping services, which I co-own with my amazingly talented, beautiful wife and best friend, Brooke. And now on to our topic. Why are one-liners so hard? Most actors can sympathize with this problem. You get an audition that has only one line. Maybe it's a commercial, or maybe it's for television or film. Whatever the case, it can be such a weird and difficult experience. And I think there's a good analogy for this that's a musical analogy. And I just got back from the Tennessee Valley Old Time Fiddlers Convention, so I got music on the brain. Imagine I'm a musician, namely a guitarist, and I'm auditioning to be part of a bluegrass band. But for my audition, they tell me that I can only play one chord. That's it? You're going to judge me on one chord? Now, in this messed up scenario, I'm going to be understandably scrutinizing this one chord. Because normally, if I'm playing a whole song, I won't care if I mess up one little note or one little chord here or there. But now, when it's the only thing I'm being judged on, I'm freaking out. There's so much anticipation building up to it. It happens. And then it's over. And I'm thinking, I missed one of those notes. And should I have used a pick? Or should I have kept it as fingers? Should I have muted some of the strings? Should I have let it sustain longer? Or should I have stopped the chord? So many questions. Now, this is where the analogy should break down, because as the musician, I understandably am being judged on that chord that I play. Whereas, as an actor, it's more about the humanity that I bring to the role without even trying, before, during, and after that one line. In other words, for the guitarist audition, while my style and personality do matter, the audition really starts the moment I hit those strings. In fact, they could judge me with their eyes closed. For the actor, on the other hand, you're being judged from the moment you appear on screen. So yes, it's still nerve-wracking to have just that one line of dialogue for your audition. But don't get caught thinking that's the only moment of your audition. Because you have a moment before, then you have the moment of the dialogue, and then you have a moment after. Now, don't milk those moments, but you definitely need to have those moments. Actually try this as an exercise the next time you have a one-liner. Let's say that it's the role of a secretary and your line is, "Mr. Zimmerman will see you now." So now challenge yourself to create a 30-second scene. You might spend 27 seconds doing business, or maybe you're on the phone with someone and then you hang up that phone and then you realize that it's time for Mr. Zimmerman's next appointment. Or maybe you say the line right away and then you spend the remaining 30 seconds doing the business of a secretary after that person has got up and left the lobby into Mr. Zimmerman's office. Who knows? Explore those options, but then start to trim it back down to something that's more manageable, that makes more sense for the audition. In fact, go ahead and tape that 30-second version if you have the time to do so, and watch it back and have fun watching the life of this secretary happen for 30 full seconds. And you should feel that that line comes out a little easier, a little bit more natural, a little bit more relaxed. Just don't submit that 30-second version to casting. They won't know what to do with that. Instead, edit it down to something that is, 4, 5, 6 seconds. And that way it's something that still makes sense, but also is more full than if you had just hit record, said the line, and hit stop. In other words, you're not trying to draw more attention to this one line or draw too much attention to this character, but it's more of an exercise to build this environment and build the life of this character as a way to carry you into that line of dialogue and then carry you out of it. Now let's talk about the line itself. We've all heard the phrase, "just throw it away," which is a less than helpful way of saying do less with it or just be natural. Because where actors get caught up with one-liners is they want to do something. Mr. Zimmerman will see you now. You want to prove in 6 words that you did study Shakespeare, or you did 2 years of Meisner, or you have been improvising for 10 years, or so forth and so on. You're trying to cram your entire resume into 6 words. Don't. Because paradoxically, by trying so hard to stand out, you actually end up standing out for the wrong reasons because you look like a newbie. And now that 20 years of experience has backfired on you because they think you're green and have never been on set before. You definitely need a point of view for your character. Don't get me wrong. but keep it simple. The bartender that simply says, "Coming right up," and has no other lines, they're not meant to be memorable. Sorry. In fact, from a storytelling perspective, it can actually be a liability if that bartender is memorable. Because if the audience is thinking 30 minutes later, "When's that bartender coming back? They were so mysterious or intense, or they were so charismatic." Well, then the director hasn't done their job of guiding the audience carefully through their story. In a way, the director is manipulating the audience to feel certain things and to be expecting certain things, to not expect other things. And so if people are sitting there waiting for bartender to come back and they don't have another scene, well, that's not good. Now, some one-liners are memorable and are meant to be, but that's the exception, not the rule. So use your judgment on your next one-liner to see if it is a utility character who's meant to sort of fade into the background or the tapestry of the scene and the environment, or if it's one of those more rare occasions where your character is meant to affect the audience, affect the lead character, affect the trajectory of the scene or the overall plot, etc. So I know that you still have this desire to stand out in that one-liner audition. I mean, how else are you going to get casting's attention, right? Well, spoiler alert, by getting the audition in the first place, you already have casting's attention, because in most scenarios, they had to approve your headshot from your agent before they ever agree to see your audition. So they are waiting for your audition. They want to see your audition. So that's a win. And so that should take some of that pressure off of you wanting to stand out. And if you've had a lot of auditions from that same casting office over the last year or 5, that's even better news. You can relax even more because they like you. They may like you a lot. And so if you try too hard, all they're thinking is, "Oh, Matt, why? No, do less." But beyond all that, the best advice when approaching these one-liners is to be yourself. Of the billions and billions of people on this planet, there is no one, even if you have a twin, no one who is exactly like you. So by that logic, by just being yourself, you are standing out. Because when you are 100% authentic, it reads that way. There's something so different between an actor who is trying to approximate something, who is trying to achieve something, versus the actor who has just become the character, who has just let the character form to them instead of them trying to form to the character. And when you allow that authenticity to just be, that stands out. It sounds so simple, and it is, yet so many actors overdo it with these auditions. So much so that casting is always saying on social media, Q&As, Instagram Lives, that they're just looking for authentic reads. If that's all they're looking for, then to me that means most of the actors out there aren't giving it to them. Authenticity will always stand out. Side note, Brooke and I host a 4-day workshop for the Sam Christensen image process, which is all about authenticity because it is that important and it is that misunderstood by actors and really all humans. And I'll put some links in the show notes below to that. So having said all of that, I do want to recognize that when you're on set and you've booked this one-liner, it can still be nerve-wracking because for whatever reason, there might be a lot of activity happening around and then there's this sudden build-up to your one line because maybe it's a group scene with lots of characters. And so they've called action and it's going and you're living in the scene and you're waiting and, oh, here comes my cue line and oh, there it is. And then, wait, did I just say it? What did I do? Did I do anything right? Oh my gosh, cut, what happened? Moving on, wait, did we get my coverage? And it can feel like this whirlwind where it's really hard to feel present when it's just a one-liner. I totally get it. I've been there many times. Because even when you have bigger roles, there are often times where in one of your scenes, you only have that one line. So you're back to experiencing this all over again. So take comfort in knowing that your feelings about these one-liners are completely validated. Believe me, we've all experienced it. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on set.